Where are you? Where are you? Look at somebody and say, where are you? Are you hiding? See, all the other questions he asked for mankind were similar, as he would say, what is going on with you? Who are you listening to? What are you believing about me that I can do for you? God asked these questions. And God will not make you tell the truth. I was discussing with Renee yesterday, when we use the scripture Revelations 3:20, we use that as a soul-winning scripture, and that is not a soul-winning scripture, because he's talking to the 7 churches at Asia Minor. And he was talking about if they wouldn't do certain things, their candlestick will be taken away. And so when we say, when it says, God says, behold, I stand at the door of your heart and knock. If anyone answer, I will come in and sup with me and he with me. He was not talking to the unbeliever. He was talking to the believer. He was saying, okay, there's some things in your life that's not right, and I'm knocking. But I won't pick the lock, and I won't knock the door down. You got to answer. Now, every day in our lives is the fruit of what we carry on our back. No matter how hard you scrub away your consciousness of certain things, they still have an impact on who you are today and who you will be tomorrow. That's why it's so important to get your soul injuries healed from your past. Soul injuries from the past are also pretty similar to physical wounds. They heal and then they scar over. They leave a mark, but they never hurt again. Except that if you don't treat them properly, they will still continually to cause problems in your life. They might reopen or even get worse. Go to the next one. This was Bernardo said. Bernardo said this: when you heal the memories from your past, you start to see the present in a different reality. I want that to sink in. Like I said, I'm not preaching, I'm just teaching, because I'm dealing with soul injuries. Okay? Okay? When you heal the memories from your past, you start to see the present in a different way. Now let me move on very quickly. A lot of people think it's enough to forget what happened. Oh, that was a long time ago. That happened a long time ago. You know, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it, even though you haven't been healed. That happened a long time ago. You just don't think about it or make anything of it. You just gloss over it. But wanting that to be true and making it that way are two different things. The fact is that all of your emotional wounds from the past will stick around in your unconscious mind. Y'all remember when we talked about what the soul is? We said the soul is it's your mind, your will, and your emotion. It has to do with your mind. It's your personality. It has to deal with your subconscious and your conscious. Okay? And so what we do is we take what was conscious and we bury it in our subconscious. Now, let me show you something, if y'all don't believe that. How many of you like Psalms chapter 23? Okay, watch this, because this is good. Watch this. And you may not be able to see this as much, but look what it says in Psalms 23, verses 1 through 3. Look what it says. The Lord is my, come on everybody. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. Now stop right there. He said he maketh me to lie down what? In green pasture. Okay, all right, in a safe place, right? But see, this is what people don't see. Look what he says. He leads me beside what? And guess, now watch this, watch this. Watch this, this is it. Everybody say it together. He restoreth my soul. I want that. Say it again. He restored my soul. If I'm having problems with my mind, if I'm having problems with my will, if I'm having problems with my emotion, he can restore my soul. Now, watch this. I said this because you got to get this. The truth is, our soul would not need to be restored unless something is damaged. Something has to be damaged for him to say he restored my soul. And if you read the life of David, David had a lot of hurts and disappointments and people disappointed. His son disappointed him. His sons disappointed him. Saul disappointed him. I mean, a lot of people hurt him. But yet he was saying, yeah, I go through, yeah, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the sea. Yeah, he helped me through all of this because he restored my what? My soul. Now, last week we learned from our opening text that it stuck with Mephibosheth. Everybody say Mephibosheth. We're going to look at 2 Kings chapter 9. Now, in 2 Kings chapter 9, Mephibosheth shows up again. Okay? Y'all remember what happened to Mephibosheth when he was young at 5 years old? His grandfather was killed. His father was killed. A lot of his family was killed. And then when his nursemaid was trying to get him so that he wouldn't be killed, she dropped him and he became crippled. That was in chapter 4. Now in 2 Samuel chapter 9, Mephibosheth, like I said, he shows up again. He was a little older and I was soon quite settled in life when out of the blue, King David sends for him. King David was a close friend of his father, Jonathan, Mephibosheth's father, and wanted to give him the life that he deserved because of who his father was. He had made a covenant with Jonathan. Now, look what it says in 2 Samuel 2:8. Look what it says. 2 Samuel 2:8. 9:8, I'm sorry. I'm reading stuff wrong. Boy, I should put my glasses on. Okay, look what it says. Mephibosheth bowed down and said, now he's before the king. He bows down before the king and he says, what is your servant? Remember, this is a prince. This was one time a prince. He has royalty in his blood. Look what he says. What is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? Tell me he's not speaking out of hurt. In other words, you say, why would the king call me? Because I don't feel like I have no value. You see, when Mephibosheth was called into David's presence, you know what? First of all, he was terrified. Y'all know why he was terrified? Because as the grandson of a dead king, Saul, Mephibosheth was the heir to the throne that David now possessed. So his first thought was that the king would probably kill him because he might see him as a what? A threat. Secondly, Mephibosheth has experienced little in his life that would make him believe that something good could happen to him because everything in his life up to this point had been bad. Remember, he was living what? In Lodabar. If you look up the word Lodabar, you will see a lot of things, a place of nothing, a place of barrenness. He was living in a place of nothing, a place of barrenness. Are y'all with me? His own words were, what is your servant that you should look at a dead dog such as I? So when King David sent and brought him out of the house, Mephibosheth must have been terrified when the messenger from David knocked at his door and demanded that he come to see the king. See, in the back of his mind, he must have constantly anticipated that the day when David would do as other kings did, they would murder every possible enemy to the throne. Now, I don't know about you. Now, let me say about me. I immediately connected with this damaged man and what was going on in his life. Because oftentimes I let my current situations, my circumstances, my actions and choices, whether they're past and present, to determine my identity and how I expect to be treated. Because I've been hurt or I've been disappointed. Are y'all with me? Now, let me show you something. Go to the next slide. Let me show you some things of how your soul injury will cause you to respond to things. Okay? I want to show you how some things respond to things. Here are some typical behaviors. Go to the next one. I don't know how much. I guess because going from, keynotes to PowerPoint, it kind of moved some stuff, shifted. Okay? So now, I'm going to give you these and then we're going to stop. Are y'all with me? All right. I told you this wasn't going to be no what? No, look, and I gave y'all a smorgasbord. Amen. We ate in church. What you do in church? I ate. All right. Now watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Are you with me? Y'all with me? All right. All right. And that's why I had to spend so much time on this, because this kind of stuff takes time to process. I was talking to a lady on the phone the other day that she almost died, and she's lost like 5 or 6 family members in the last, she said last year. And I just simply said, because Tony will tell you, if you pray, at least once, if you talk to me once, I'm going to pray with you. And I said to her, how can I pray for you? And she said, then the phone just went silent. I said, you still there? You still there? She said, yeah, I just, And I began to share my story about my soul wounds and how God brought me to where I am today, and how she is walking through a dark tunnel in her life right now. And sometimes we don't even feel like the sun will ever shine again. And I said, I'm going to send you this series. I'm going to send this to you because you need to hear it. And if you would like, you could go on our Facebook page, and you can get the other parts about the body and the soul. But here are some typical behaviors that soul injuries can do. Number one, I'm going to give you these very quickly. Okay? As a matter of fact, you can just take a picture because I gave them to you right away. Soul injuries can cause you to have a hard time trusting people. Can have you the hard time trusting people. Let me deal with this very quickly. Being able to trust others is a very important part of life. And not only trusting others, but also in oneself. But for some people, trusting others is a true challenge, especially when it comes to new people. A crisis of confidence arises. And consequently, so does a fear of trusting others. Some people fool themselves into believing that they don't have to be close to people in life. I'm a relational person. And as a national leader, when I was a national leader, I had a friend that sat on my board, and I simply said this. Well, that was a region before I became the national. But I said, hey, man, I said, I want to get close to you. I want us to pray at least once a week. I want to know what's going on in your life. I want to be accountable to you. And he said, no, bro, I don't need that. I don't need that. This is the pastor. He said, I don't need that. I'm good. I'm all right. Let me say this. Humans need each other, and they need to socialize. Otherwise, life will be incredibly empty. Now, what are trust issues? Let me give you this because I'm going to speak to these. But what are trust issues? Trust issues are actually forms of defense mechanisms, not necessarily healthy ones. People may create ways to avoid the risk of possibly being hurt or disappointed. especially when they start to expect that they can not ever trust other people. This can result in self-sabotage. They project what has happened in the past onto what may happen in the future, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, here are 3 signs that your level of trust. Let me give them to you. I'm just going to give them to you. I can't expound on them because time is getting away. You don't believe what others tell you. Okay? You struggle when somebody say they're going to do stuff. The next one. I'm not expounding on them because I'm missing from those notes. I'm moving from those. Another thing. Sometimes when people tell you something, you expect the worst. You don't expect that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Number 3, you keep people at a distance. You can only let people get so close to you. And I see that with a lot of men. Because we have this image. You know, in prison, they say guys be playing this image, they strong and everything. When they go to their prison cell, they be crying. See, certain personality types may have trust issues. They also found in mental health conditions and more serious illnesses. These can include depression, post-traumatic stress, adjustment orders, and personality disorder. The second soul injury, very quickly. Okay, now go back, Tracy, you went back to, yeah. Soul injuries can cause you to seek distraction from your painful memory thoughts. Emotionally hurt people need to get distracted from their bothering thoughts, which disturb them all the time. They tend to think about hundreds of painful things. They feel a constant need to escape from those thoughts. So they need to keep themselves busy with something that will take their mind off of what they're going through. They're just busy, because they don't want to be reminded of some of the wounds that have incurred to them. Number 3, soul injuries can cause you to prefer solitude to social interaction. Solitude to social interaction. Let me say this. Emotional hurt people feel everything very intensely. Sometimes their emotions are so deep and intense that they have to retreat from any social interaction and be alone with themselves, far away from all other people and situations that could destroy their fragile peace. They just say, Christmas come, they don't want to be bothered. Thanksgiving come, they don't want to be bothered. Come on. Mother's Day, they don't want to be bothered. That's why I recognize when Mother's Day comes, we take time not only to celebrate mamas of living, we take time to celebrate mamas that have gone. Because for some, it's a painful when you know your mother's not here. You don't want to celebrate Mother's Day. Are y'all with me? Number 4. Soul injuries can cause you to feel depressed. You remember my story, and I'm not going to tell it. When I was in Bible college, I suffered with depression for 2.5 years. Didn't know I was in depression. I cried every day for 2.5 years. And my mind would come and go, and I was very suicidal. And only about 3 or 4 people knew that I was going through that in Bible college. But I remember when I tried to kill myself and I tried to do things, the Lord said, He said, son, and He didn't say soul issues, but now I know what it is. You got soul issues. And you're hurting. And if I allow you to go into ministry, listen to this. If I allow you to go into ministry, hurt, because you're bleeding, hurt people. People who bleed on others. And He said, you won't be able to be effective in the ministry because you got soul injuries. Now, I'm not going to go into that because most of you have heard about those. See, if someone has been emotionally hurt, they tend to perceive negativity more intensely than others. That is why emotional hurt individuals feel often depressed, usually because they dig deeper into the bad things that happen to them than the good things that happen to them. See, these men and women seldom look on the bright side of life, and this is considerable barriers to living a happy and fulfilled life because you're always thinking about the worst. Number 5, we're almost there. Soul injuries can cause you to overthink things. Soul injuries can cause you to overthink things. You usually don't plan for the future because you're too busy overanalyzing the things that happen to you right now. You understand? You're trying to analyze what's going on. You can't see beyond that. Some people, they can't help thinking over and over again about what has happened during the day of the week. They do so because it makes them feel comfortable and distract them from the emotional, painful thoughts that tend to overwhelm their mind. Sadly, these people tend to overthink all sorts of insignificant details, not only the situation from the present moment, but very often because they become obsessed with those things. Number 6, now you can go to the next one. We're moving right along. You know, for me, you know, I know a lot of preachers say, amen, come on, Phil. I don't care about that. I want to know that we helping you here. So when you leave here, you say, you know, like I remember when Sister Linda first came to this church, you know, she was in the church, she was a deacon, and she did all this type of stuff, but she was clubbing and drinking and smoking and, you know, doing everything. You understand? She said she even got to a place, y'all heard her testimony where she said, you know, on Communion Sunday, she said, I would take communion, then I would wait 5 hours to let it die down, then I would go to the club. Like that was going to make a difference. Then she said when she came here and she heard us preach, she was like, oh my God, I'm not right with God. I'm a hypocrite. And she said, I ain't coming back to that church. I'm just not coming back to that church. I don't like what that man said. She said when she leaves, she would come back, she would be like, but I want to hear more. I want to hear more. And every week she would be mad. And then she would come back. And finally God got a hold of her and he changed her life. So, soul injury can cause you to be able to, soul injury can cause you not to be able to distinguish between a toxic and healthy relationships. Look how many people are in relationships that they shouldn't be in. It happens that wounded people might have difficulties to make the difference between somebody that means them well versus somebody that don't mean them well. And they're always attracted to the wrong people. Unfortunately, that puts them at risk of falling victims of toxic relationships or poisonous people, and this could increase their anxiousness even more. Very quickly, number 7, injuries can cause you to be vulnerable, too vulnerable. It can cause you to be too vulnerable. Emotional hurt people get offended easily because, as mentioned above, they are highly sensitive. Okay, they are very highly sensitive. This is the reason why they could become defensive and react aggressively. If you say something, they just, you know, they'll put their defense up right away. And their whole attitude, their whole demeanor will change. Come on. And you'd be like, whoa, where did that come from? Very often they would feel offended when others joke with them, even if it's not in a mean way. The same is valid when someone puts them down. They are too vulnerable to accept criticism. So you can, no matter what you say to them, you just, they're gonna be vulnerable. Number 8, soul injuries can cause you to be impatient, a very impatient person. Patience is not a quality emotionally wounded individuals possess. That's why they quickly get annoyed with other people or situations. People just get easily annoyed. The worst part, however, is that such behavior could lead to negative reaction from others and cause conflict that are unnecessary. Number 9, we're moving now. Soul injuries can cause you to be easily offended. 10 years ago, I could say a lot of things to a lot of people in that church. Now I can't. because they'll be easily offended. Do y'all know we talked about this, that it said in the last days, what? What's going to be a sign that it's the last days? People are going to be what? Take offense. Look it up. They're going to be take up all. Look at our society. If you say something like, what's the guy from Amazon, that the CEO of Amazon? He said, I'm going to give $10 million away. You know what the people say? Oh, well, you should be doing it this way. He said he's going to give $10 million away, but people want to tell you how to do it. People are easily offended. Just you can just this is a society that people just even. Some of y'all might be offended with me. Like, how dare him stir up something inside of me? Number 10, very quickly. Soul injury that causes you to be. Well, I got that one. 10. Soul injury that causes you to be unconfident. People who are emotionally hurt usually are very unconfident because they've been belittled too long. You're crazy. You're no good. You're a slut. You never amount to nothing. I know you're going to have kids out of wedlock. I know you're always lying. You're the black sheep of the family. And it can cause you to. So when people say things to you, you put your guards up because you feel like, I heard that when I was growing up. And I don't need to hear that now that I'm grown. And then the last one. Soul injuries can cause you to feel like you're the victim in every situation, even when you are wrong. I'm dealing with some people right now. They have hurt me so much. I mean, so much. And I would say 10, 50, 20, 30 times they've hurt me. And every time they need me, I counsel what I did to be there for them. And so, this stuff is building up in me. And I said, one day I'm going to talk to them about what they did to me. And they got offended. I was like, it's all right for what you did to me, all the money I put in you and all the stuff. Now I'm telling you so that I can get free. Now you offended. And you did 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 things to me, and I might have done one thing to you. I closed the book. I tell people all the time, I am not a pastor after people's own heart. I'm a pastor after God's own heart. Therefore, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you